Hello, everyone. Full Force Combat here with Brian Hyslop. Brian, we're only a few days away from your fight in Derby against Bradley Taylor. How's it going?
Here we are indeed a few days away. It's going good. Everything's going good, thank God.
And how's your training camp been for this one? Because this is a really big fight in terms of BKFC and your position there, albeit being your first one.
My first one in BKFC, yeah.
Yeah, BKFC.
Training camp has been the best. I've had 54 fights in my life, and this is the best fight camp I've ever done.
And is there anything for you that made you feel like, right, is it just how you're feeling now, or is it
regarding the fight camp?
Yeah, just regarding that made you go makes you feel like this is the best you've been.
The amount of time that I applied to it, I started this about 4 months ago because I knew I was going to be fighting on BKFC. I literally just put my full attention to this, my full focus to this. I wasn't working. I'm an online coach, but I was doing PTs for my last fights. I kind of stopped the PTs, done online coaching, which doesn't take up much of my energy. So I've just everything in the gym. I'm focusing on this fight. So I've been doing 2 or 3 sessions most days. I've put 100% focus on it.
And do you know much about Bradley Taylor? Have you seen much of his fights beforehand?
Yeah, mate, I've watched him. I've been watching him since February. Watched him quite a lot, to be honest with you. He's a good fighter, fast, sharp, strong, fit. A good opponent, really good opponent.
Is that do you do a lot of analysis on fight? Do you when you're fighting songs? I know some fighters are more about like we'll just see when we get in there, but some like to be really analytical and see what their fighter is about.
I think if you're serious, and it's like your job, it's your career, you need to do your homework, and I've done a lot of homework. So.
Yeah, and there was a lot of respect. I saw a bit of the sort of face off the wraps are off post on Instagram, and there was a lot of respect there. What's that like when is that easier for you to navigate than a ton of like sort of animosity before a fight or anything like that?
I don't need to act all aggressive to try and intimidate my opponent. I think that comes from a place of fear. I'm confident. I can speak to him like a normal man. He's going to be my opponent for 10 minutes. No doubt, shake his hand and speak to him after it. There's no real evil animosity between us. But we're going to go to war for 10 minutes.
And what was your biggest takeaway from your first bare knuckle bout against Tony Delaney? Obviously, you got the win there. Was there anything that you thought about from that transition from MMA into this?
I think the sport suits me more as a fighter because I come from a boxing base, and my shortcomings in MMA was like grappling, jiu-jitsu on the ground. I'm a good wrestler, but jiu-jitsu on the ground was like really my low point. That's where my losses were coming from. I didn't really know much about it until the start of this year. I went to do a podcast with Danny Christie, and he was kind of speaking to me about it. And then when I jumped in the ring and felt like, okay, I can box here, but I can also clinch. I can also utilise my wrestling and MMA experience. I thought this is made for me.
So has that really helped you out, knowing that it's not even just your boxing beforehand, it's also all the stuff you learned through your MMA and everything like that? It all sort of combines here in bare knuckle.
Yeah, well, bare knuckle, BKFC, all the world champions are all the number one in the world for the weights. They all came from an MMA background, not boxing background. I think that Austin Trout or something, he's the only one that never came from an MMA background. Everyone else does. So it kind of shows you that the superior kind of training system would be MMA for BKFC, bare knuckle boxing.
And this is supposed to be an eliminator for the UK title. Is that something you set your eyes on as soon as you got the call to take this fight?
When I got the call for the fight, my focus is on the fight, and my focus is going to be on the fight until after the fight ends.
Fair enough. And how did that move to Bare Knuckle FC come about? How was that transition from obviously where you fought your first one to this one now?
I spoke to Danny Christie in January, and he he actually contacted Andrew Bakewell on my regard. I'd done some sparring with him and they said, yeah, I'd be good for this. And then Impact, BKB, my friends set up a show. I just kind of spiraled through there. And then I spoke to Andrew Bakewell after my fight and he kind of said, I'm going to get you on BKFC.
And I've checked you out, and you speak about fortitude a lot, and that how much that means to you. Is that something that's come from fighting, or is that something you've actually brought into your fighting and something you learnt maybe outside of the sport?
Yeah, being fortified comes from my life experience, not just fighting. I was in prison 16 months ago. I fortified myself in prison, and I actually coach men on this: how to be disciplined, how to be mentally resilient, how to be mentally fortified. A lot of it comes from my experience as a professional fighter, all my experience of training, all my days. Yeah, it just ties together.
And that transition into coaching, has that also helped you with your fighting career, also seeing other people's lives and perspectives and bringing that into your own career?
Yeah, it's breaking down techniques in such a way that I can articulate it to a client or a fighter. That allows me to kind of break it down even better in my head. I think that's probably the best advantage of it. I never really coached until 2 years ago or something like that. I never ever really wanted to coach, but when I started to coach, I knew that how good I was at it. And that breaking down of the techniques now, I think about them a bit more, because I've thought about them that much that I can speak to them to people and teach them to people. So when I'm doing that, it's experience in my head as well. I'm building a better understanding of each technique, each strategy, each training system, losing weight, the mindset, the psychology before a fight, all these things. I think about it a lot more rather than just in the language that's in my head, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so it's almost like just simplifying it out has actually made it something that, and explaining it to, as you say, articulating it can actually benefit you. I think a few fighters say that. Do you think that's something a lot of fighters can benefit from, and that coaching side of it?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, it's probably the best way to earn a living as a fighter, being a coach. You're in the gym, you're kind of thinking about your craft rather than being on a building site and tiring your body out that way. I made the transition from personal training to online coaching a few months ago, and it's the same kind of stuff I do. It's more mental, fortified stuff that I do. That has freed up my body and gave me the ability to train full time as well for these fights.
And that's going to stand you in really good stead. Probably is that the first time in your career you've really been able to train full time?
When I was younger, I done it. When I was in my 20s, I had a really good run at MMA, and that was the deciding factor, like how successful I was. I always remember that. Like when I was just waking up in the morning, because you're young, you've not really got the responsibilities. I've got 3 kids now. When you're young and you're waking up in the morning training and you're going back to sleeping and then you're going to the gym again and then you're focusing on your recovery. So that's what my last 4 months have been. I've been up in the morning, school run, training, come back sleeping, recovery in a sauna, jacuzzi and stuff like that, or ice bath, go back to training at night. It's like I've applied 100% of my time with it, and the online coaching has allowed me to do that.
And yeah, so that's obviously that transition has made it a lot easier for you. Would you love to see a show in Scotland, the BKFC show in Scotland for yourself, and a great crop of fighters they have there?
Yeah, and we're all kind of together. We all train together. John Telfer and Sean Weir, the 2 that were on BKFC in Manchester. We all came from this Impact BKB show, and there's a lot more guys coming through. I've actually helped coach some of them, like training alongside them, but teaching them some of the. I don't want to say too much, but I think a lot of fighters in BKFC or BKB in the UK don't utilise all the areas of combat. They maybe just only focus on boxing. There's so many more ranges when you look at it, and that's what I'm saying. When you look at the champions in BKFC in America and stuff like that, they all come from an MMA background. So, and a lot of boxers when they come in as well, ex-world champions or whatever, they don't really fare well, as it is what I've seen. Because there's so much more you can do in BKFC and BKB than lots of things. Like I'm used to fighting with small MMA gloves. Even the punch selection, the location I'm hitting an opponent, the punch selection, the way that it's so different. Boxing's so different. If I boxed a pure boxer, I'm at a disadvantage. But in BKFC, I think I'm a massive advantage with my experience.
And that camaraderie of having people with you, people that have experienced it before yourself, and then people that are starting to experience it now, that must feel like a real benefit to yourself and those other fighters.
Yeah, it's shooting up in popularity in Scotland. I mean, there wasn't any Scottish guys on the card. I think there was a couple or something, but me, John, and Sean are the first three to be signed by BKFC. I'm pretty sure. It's great, and see, you're going to be surprised. Like in Manchester, happened. Sean and John were the two underdogs, heavily underdogs, and they had the best performances of the night. Especially John Telfer, he just walked right through his opponent, which wasn't any danger against a really, really good opponent. So I think it sets the tone for what's going to happen on Saturday.
Brilliant. And finally, what can we expect to see from Bryan Hyslop on Saturday night?
I'm going to go to war, man. I can't explain what's going to happen because that's in God's hands, but I'm going to go to war, and it's going to be exciting. They're going to get a money's worth.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Brian. Just actually, finally, is for people, if they are interested in perhaps the coaching side of things, where can they go find you?
I'm on Instagram at Bryan Hyslop. Send me a message if you want to get fortified. I'm here to help.
Perfect. Well, really looking forward to your fight, BKFC Derby. Looking forward to that. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for watching as well. Remember, we're sponsored by Hez Boxing, and we will see you next time.
Thank you, bro. See you later.